Hey guys, what's up? Aiden here, and this is gonna be another PvP, well, not really a vlog, but more of an analysis wherein we're gonna talk about Lyndon's new stance, which is Lord of Death. And for our French audience, pardon me if I'm gonna get the pronunciations on some of the skills wrong, because I just tried to Google on how it's pronounced. I'm not sure if it's gonna be to be correct or I can say it properly. So let's start. So Lord of Death is a stance, from what I see, is anti-mage, and it's good against characters who uses robes and coats. Now, for those who are curious about the damage modifiers and percentages and all that jazz, I'm gonna link it in the description below. It's the Path link where you can read everything about it. Okay, let's start. So Lord of Death is a single rapier stance. It has high damage modifiers against coats and robes. It has shit damage versus leather armor and probably metal armor. It does have some interesting skills, which we'll get to right now. So the first skill is Muswan. Muswan? Alright, I tried to look that up, and I don't think I pronounced that properly, but whatever, right? So this skill, it can hit up to 6 enemies. It's an instant cast skill. It gives you a buff called Bloodlust. It states that Bloodlust gives you +1 AR, and the duration is 60 seconds. So for each buff, and it levels up, it gives you an attack, 2% attack, physical penetration +1, critical attack +5%, and once you get up to level 10, you basically ignore magic by 75%. That offsets the stance's damage resistance to magic, because the stance is a negative 20% to magic. So this is like a stronger version of Rapier in a sense, provided you have the Ropera, which is Bloodlust buffed on. And then you also you also have every damage reduced by 10%, and you get 1 DR. It doesn't overlap with the personal buff of Kurt. Okay, so for this skill, it's one of those basic instant cast small AoE skills, low damage, gives you, the buff. It's one of those instant things that you use to get the buff up. And I didn't use it that much because it does not hit flying. Okay, for the second stance, it's Envoli. This skill has 2 counters. You can use it twice, and then it will cool down and it will refresh. From what I see, this is the skill that deals more damage to air or flying characters. It actually says on the skill that damage to enemies in the air ×2. So that's why you would wonder that it dealt up to 20k-ish, or around 20k-ish to the Reckless Emilia and the Wizard I was fighting, but the damage to the Scout was 10k. So I think that's pretty balanced. Nothing much to say about this. The damage mod at level 10 is 1.2k, it's 1284. It's not that strong, basic ignore defense, and the only good thing about it is that the cast time is really fast. So you don't need to use Rift. If you do use Rift, it will be near instant. So for this, it's basically Kurt's gap closer, one of his better gap closers. It's like lattice jump. I use this a lot because the cooldown is pretty low. From what I see here, cooldown is Path. Why? It says here cooldown none. I'm pretty sure there is a cooldown, guys, so don't believe this. Roughly, this is probably like a 10 or 12 second cooldown. So for you guys that's going to be reading up on Path, just take note, it might be a 12 or 10 second cooldown. Alright, so the third skill is something that sounds funny, and I think this got lost in translation. Third skill is Frapper, double P. It's an instant cast line nuke, hits flying, pretty good, and you can use it 2 times as well. Damage mod is fairly okay. It ignores evasion. This skill will deal more damage if your enemy is under 50%. Next skill, the fourth skill, is Enchain. This is one that takes a while to cast. Casting time is 2.4 seconds. High cooldown 30 seconds. Damage mod is not that high either. It's 1.8k. Okay, so this can only knock back. Does this knock back? It says can knock back around him. So does that mean if it's near him? Because I noticed this skill is like a vacuum skill where it drags characters near Kurt, but I did notice that they did get knocked back. So I think this is a very tricky skill to use. So it's up to you if you want to use that. It does have a 66% chance to inflict chain of bondage. I don't know what that does, but let's see. It doesn't say on here. Kurt's last skill is Lomo. Pardon me. French speakers, pardon me. Okay, this ignores evasion, and like the third skill, it deals times 2 damage, times 2 damage to people who are 50% below, and it has a chance of inflicting curse. I'm not sure what kind of curse it is, but it's probably like a stance related curse. So the other ones were just like basic mortal wound, mostly mortal wound. Actually, only the third skill has mortal wound. First and second skill doesn't have a debuff from what I see. Yeah, I'm not showing any debuff here. Alright. Okay. Alright, so Bloodlust also affects the accuracy of this skill, wherein if you have level 10 Bloodlust, you get higher accuracy on this skill, which is not bad. The damage mod is also not bad, which is 2.4k, ignores evasion, 100 death. It's basically that's it. It's like, generic finisher. Now, my thoughts on the stance. So all of you are curious on, should I buy the stance? Should I get the stance? Okay, this is my honest opinion on it, and I like the stance a lot. It's not carrier or corsair. It's not stupid OP. Let's start with that. It's not stupid OP. Just to set your expectations. Now you'll see in the markets being sold for like 3.7B, 3.4B. It's not worth that. Trust me. At best, maybe you can be like a 1B stance or maybe 1.2. I'm not sure how much or how frequent you can get this or what the rate for it is, but this is not a 3B stance compared to Corsair or Carrier. This stance is not a PvE stance. I haven't seen Rapers be used as a mainstay in raids. It's low they're pretty low damage and they're very PvP-esque, and it's only a niche group of people would use Rapers. That's why you don't see much good Rapers on the market. Best PvE character to use a Rapier was probably JD, but he got also nerfed, after a while. Alright, so if it's not a PvE stance, is it a PvP stance? Of course it is a PvP stance. Is it a 1v1 PvP stance or a group PvP stance? Now, based on the skills, it would imply that it's a group PvP stance that can be used in single PvP, but for me, from what I see after looking at all of it, it's tricky to use it in group PvP, given that its armor spec is very horrible compared to very horrible versus all the characters being used or is meta right now in PvP, wherein people are running around with Crusader, Daria, Lada, and Adelina, which are all like leather armor or metal users. So, should you use this in Colony War? You can use it, but only if you really have a good weapon, and if you think that you're there just to assassinate those reckless Emilias. It doesn't state here that you can go through invulnerable or anything, and I find it weird that skills are anti-evasion, because he kind of deals shit damage versus characters that would wear leather armor anyway. So I don't get why IMC would give him ignore evasion. PvP and PvE, this is a niche stance. That's why I said I don't recommend buying this at 3B right now. And for PvP, it's a great stance. I actually like it. It's balanced. It's great. It's great because it's balanced. That's what I mean. But if you're one of those, if you're one of the big boys, this won't appeal to you. It's not a stance that you would probably consider because you're better off sticking to what you currently have, especially if you have Corsair or even Carrier. Although the cast times on this stance is better than Carrier, but the thing is, Carrier, once you hit someone with Into the Heaven, they're basically send them to heaven because they're dead. I had multiple times, I experienced multiple times, and I've seen multiple times, like just one family with the grouped up all three characters get one-shotted by Into Heaven. So yeah, that's horrible. But all in all, Kurt's stance is nice for people who play FIM or even normal PvP. It's just just gotta take note that you can't expect OP damage for it. I would say this is like Viola Pharaoh 2.0. Yeah, it's Viola Pharaoh 2.0, but it has more control and it can fight characters that can lock you down better because you basically have like 3 instant cast skills here on his skill set, and you have one for group PvP that can well, I guess it would be great for calling more if you can like mass envy into a group, use the 4th skill if you can fast enough, and then let people like bomb an area where your Kurt will be there. That takes a lot of coordination, so it's gonna take a while. And if you have a really good Reaper, you can probably one-shot people with the 2nd skill, the Gap Closer. All in all, it's a great stance, but not a stance that I would suggest that you would buy for a high price, and it's not something that you would probably enjoy using if you're a hardcore PvPer, or field PvP. For FIM, it's pretty fun. You should try it out. If you have a Kurt in your barracks and he's collecting dirt, log in with that Kurt, play with it. I suggest pairing him up with Anya or anything that would probably rape a character that uses leather armor or that has, like I said, Anya or Enforcer Anis, Crusader Daria, Lada. I'm only suggesting Lada because Lada is the ultimate troll. You'll just jump onto someone and fucking annoy them to death. And if you have Arbitrator Berthe right now is the best scout in FIM with that retarded healing. You buff her personal skill, remove the staff. Remove the staff. If you put your stats on int, mask here is going to be like around 1.8k, 1.6k, I'm not sure, but you can spam the mask here along with the regen from her skill. Basically in FIM right now, Valeria's useless, all the other scouts are useless, aside from Arbitrator Berthe, because she's like, the best option you have right now. Enhanced Tactics plus OP buffs if you even have time to cast it with your small AoEs. And the only downside to her is shitty Enhanced Tactics that has small area coverage. Sorry, this became an Air Arbitrator Berthe extra, but that's it for Kurt's analysis on the stance. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll try and PvP again just right now so that I can provide more content. This video is pretty long. Again, I hope you enjoyed this and you all have a great day.